What's going on, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Waiver Wire Queen. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Today's episode, we are going to do a mock draft, and this is going to be for a Superflex league. Let's get into this mock draft, y'all. All right, so this particular draft is going to be via the Sleeper app. It's, again, a 2-quarterback league, 1 tight end PPR league. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. We have a lot of great content, which is going to help you prepare for your upcoming fantasy football season. In this mock draft, I'll give you some sleepers, some ideas on how you should approach your draft. We're just gonna see how things go in this draft. I'm picking last. Sometimes that can be a gift and a curse. It really just depends. This is a 12-team league. Let's have some fun and get this draft started. Okay, again, this is a 2-quarterback league. I believe in most live drafts, you may see Jonathan Taylor go first, or you may see Josh Allen go first. It really simply just depends on the group of people you are drafting with. To me, again, there's no right or wrong way. I know some people love to do the running back early, and then others in the Superflex league, they prefer to go for their quarterback. Again, I do recommend that you switch the strategy up if you're in multiple leagues, because you don't want to have 12 leagues and all your quarterbacks are the same, or your running backs are the same, because again, anything can happen, injuries, anything can happen. So kind of switch your draft strategy up so you have a diverse group of players in all of your leagues. So right here, to me, this is a no-brainer. I can easily just look at a quarterback. I'm going to do something different here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Jamar Chase. Obviously, Jamar Chase is a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy football. He will end up at the end of the season finishing as a top 5 wide receiver. He may even finish top 3. My top 3 wide receivers I have it is Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. That's my top 3. I love Jamar Chase. If you are the type of player whose strategy is to pair your quarterback, then what you would do is say go Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. But right now, we're just going to keep it going and just looking to see what's on the board. Again, this is a super flex league, and you have to start 3 wide receivers. And let's be clear with the super flex, it doesn't mean you have to start 2 quarterbacks, but it just makes sense to do so, unless you just have all of the top premium running backs, and then I get it. But I'm just gonna go wide receiver here, and then address the quarterback position a little bit later. So again, this is a redraft league. I do recommend that you get your quarterbacks. You don't necessarily have to take one of the top quarterbacks early in a redraft, 2-quarterback or super flex league, because there is some great value later on in the draft at the quarterback position, which will help you throughout the season. So let's see what I want to do here. So I'm not a big fan of James Conner, just my own thing, not a huge fan. I will come down here and say that Antonio Gibson ranked 52nd is just not a good ranking anymore. Okay, guys, if you are a starting running back 1 in the NFL, you're not returning kicks and punts and starting the second half of preseason games. Okay, not gonna happen. I'll tell you where Antonio Gibson went wrong. He has a lot of talent. Went wrong last season with a lot of fumbles. Then he comes in the first preseason game and fumbles the ball. They're looking for you to improve, not start the first preseason game off with fumbling. Fumble the ball. They drafted Brian Robinson anyway, so you already knew, ooh, Brian Robinson's going to be in the mix now. I thought early on it would be more goal line work. However, Gibson with the fumble early on in preseason and Brian Robinson playing very well, Brian Robinson is looking more and more likely the lead back. In my opinion, I would stay away from the Commanders because it's just a bit messy there. I would honestly stay away. So let's look at what we can do here. We have 2 picks. So I can either grab me another wide receiver, or I may go running back here. So I'm going to come here and I'm just taking Travis Etienne, I do believe he is due for a breakout season. You already know he missed his rookie year. This season, he is going to produce. I believe having Travis Etienne on the field is going to help Trevor Lawrence tremendously this year, especially on third down. I do believe that he is the better running back between him and Robinson. He is the best running back on the roster, and time will tell. I want to come here and grab me another wide receiver. So right now, I'm just gonna look. Well, I'm staying away from the Washington Commander wide receivers. Although I like Terry McLaurin, I do not trust Carson Wentz as much. Now Pittman performed well with Carson Wentz last year. I'm just not interested in I'm just not interested in it, y'all. I'm just not doing it. So what I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna look and see there's a lot of good wide receivers on the board. Deontay Johnson is another one, so I can go Deontay Johnson. Now, at some point, I will look at the quarterback position and address. I'll tell you, do not deviate from what your plan is in fantasy football, because people are drafting a certain excuse me, a certain way, because you don't want to ruin your plan. Now, people tend to panic, and when you panic, you end up messing up your team. So don't panic and stick to whatever strategy you have in mind in order to you know put together the best team. If you see everybody snatching up the quarterbacks, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to run and grab all of a quarterback. Now, there are a lot of good quarterbacks, but there is great value again later on in the draft. You got Kirk Cousins, you have Derek Carr. These guys will be solid again this year. They've been solid the last several years in fantasy. So you don't have to necessarily just rush and just grab a quarterback just because everyone else is doing it. Okay. I do believe Trey Lance will have a good year. I honestly feel like in some of the leagues I've drafted in, he has been drafted very early. So if he's your guy and that's who you want, you're gonna have to probably jump up a little bit earlier than what you would expect to grab him. I do believe another good still lay is Winston. Winston has a better situation this year with the Saints, and I do expect him to produce. You have all of your wide receivers, your running back situation, offensive line is solid, although they lost their top pick. See how long he's going to be out. But again, you don't have to reach for a quarterback. Load up on the skill positions and make your team the best team that you can. I'm going to come here and I'm just going to go with Godwin. I like Amari Cooper, but I don't like Amari Cooper until Deshaun Watson gets on the football field. Okay, that's just what it is. I just don't, and I'm not going to draft in that. This is a one tight end league. I can come here and grab a tight end early, but I want to wait a little bit later, and I'll tell you why. There's some solid talent late. I can come here and grab Albert O. Hunter Henry is going to be solid, even though right now we all know that the Patriots are struggling on the offensive side of the ball. I've kind of predicted that and knew that would occur once some coaching situations changed. There's gonna be some growing pains. Do I feel like they're going to come out of it? I just simply don't know. I still feel like they're lacking a lot of talent at the wide receiver position. Bill's gonna have to understand that he doesn't have Tom Brady, and he's gonna have to step out of his old self and come up with some fresher ideas in order to make that team a little bit better on the offensive side, because as you can see, Mac Jones ain't looking too good. Okay, he's simply not. And not saying he's going to be the greatest quarterback, but he was solid as a rookie. But this year, he's looking like he's going to be on a decline unless they truly start adding better talent around him. There were other wide receivers that they could have drafted. They could have went and got Pickens. They could have went and got some better talent at the wide receiver position. Thornton's going to be out some time anyway, so it's like, ooh, okay, let's get a pick in here. Let's look at a running back. I don't like Miles Sanders, so I'm just gonna come down here. I'm gonna take AJ Dillon. Okay, I'm gonna take AJ Dillon. A1. as what I'm going to call that running back situation. It's going to be a committee. At times last season it was a committee, but it worked. So I do feel like it still will work. I do expect him to see a little more goal line work than Jones this year. So if you were doubting whether Dylan is going to be solid, then don't, because he definitely will produce. It's just a given. Now let's see what else I can do here. Do I want to look? I'm going to look and see what's going on with the quarterback position to determine if I have the chance to wait a little bit longer. I don't think I have the opportunity to wait a little bit longer. I do feel like by the time it gets back around, one of my quarterbacks is going to be it's going to be gone. So I'm going to have to address that quarterback position, but I want to see what tight ends are here. I still feel like it's some good value at the tight end position. So I'm going to add another running back. I'm staying away from the Patriots running backs because I don't know what the heck they got going on there. It's just a bit crazy. So I'm taking Edmonds, okay? I still see Dak on the board, which was surprising because he wasn't the quarterback that I was targeting in this draft. But again, like I said, my quarterbacks are kind of coming up, so I'm gonna just take Dak here because I do believe once it comes back around, the quarterbacks I was targeting may be gone. So I felt like that was the time to grab a quarterback. I do believe Dak will finish as a top 10 quarterback in fantasy football this year. As you can see, is exactly what I was thinking. Quarterbacks are gone now. There is one quarterback that I was targeting that is still on the board, but again, I'm just gonna snatch him up. I had Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr in mind. I do feel like Dak is better than Derek Carr fantasy wise, so I had to go with Dak Prescott there. And I made the right decision because by the time it would have gotten back to me, there would have still been some good value on the board at the quarterback position. But I most likely would have had to draft two quarterbacks back to back, and I did not want to do that. So I'm going to come over here and look at this tight end situation. I do believe Pat Freiermuth will have a much better season this year. He was utilized a lot in the red zone as a rookie tight end. I do believe he'll be the security blanket for Mitch if he's the starter, which he most likely will be early on, or if Kenny Pickett was to get in there, I do believe he'll be a security blanket. Mike Gesicki, they're saying he's not going to be involved as much in the passing game, which is crazy to me. So I'm going to hold off again on the wide receiver position. I mean, on the tight end position. I want to see what other running backs is out there. I do have three. I want to add another. I want to add another one. So I want to add another running back because I feel like the running back positions get a little suspect right now. So Michael Carter, I'm just not taking any chances on him. I can go James Robinson because of the old Travis Etienne situation. And Nehemiah Hines, no, I'm going to skip over him. I'm going to come down here and just take a chance on Brian Robinson because I do believe he'll be heavily involved in the Commanders offense. And right now I'm looking for players who I feel have the ability to get in there a week and help my team. He's not going to be the guy who's going to start for my team, but he's going to be a player who's going to be able to come in there and help my team. Another running back you should have high on your board, even though he's a rookie, is Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce has lit it up. He's been lighting it up during training camp and preseason to the point of where Marlon Mack is actually starting in the second half of preseason game. So if you didn't know, now you know that, yeah, Marlon Mack is not going to be the starter, in my opinion. So right here, I'm fine with taking Tyler Higbee. Tyler Higbee is going to produce solid stats. He's just inconsistent health-wise. That's the factor that's getting in the way of Tyler Higbee. But he's a very good pick at in round 11. Okay, so and there's still several tight ends on the board that you can target. I do believe David Njoku will be a factor. I honestly feel like he's going to be more of a factor early on for the Browns in the passing game and as a receiver because let's be clear, there is no Watson, so he's a great pick late at the tight end position because he's going to receive the ball a whole lot. Noah Fant is another one I do believe is going to be involved heavily because let's be clear, Seattle, all they're going to be able to do is run the football. The quarterbacks they have currently on the roster it's just horrible, and they have stunk it up in preseason. Drew Lock looked horrible in the Seahawks' third preseason game. It was terrible. I had to look at the stats about 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, really? I'm looking at him overthrow people, underthrow. It was horrible. 3 interceptions, but that is Drew Lock. That is what he has been. So for the Seahawks to think that they were going to fix him and make him something that he hasn't shown us, I don't know what they were thinking, but at the end of the day, that's on them. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna come here again and take another running back who I feel like has the potential to produce this season, and that is Kenneth Gainwell. All right, Kenneth Gainwell is going to be involved again. He, if nothing else, you know that Miles Sanders is always hurt and possibly may miss time at some point this season due to injuries. So Kenneth Gainwell to me will slide in there and see a lot of action. That's just what it is. So I'm so far liking this team. I want to come in and add another quarterback. I just want to add more talent. So first of all, I want to see what I'm doing at this wide receiver position because I feel like I can add some more wide receivers. I just do. Chark, not as high on him. Nico Hardman, I've always been high on him, but no longer high on him. It's just not gonna work. A lot of people are high on Nico Collins. Again, I have to see more of Nico Collins. He looked decent in the third preseason game for the Texans, but Mills, I'm not even gonna say it was Mills. The play calling I just didn't think was really good. I understand he's a big, tall body, but you just can't throw the ball up to just anybody and think that they're going to catch the football. I watched them 3 times, and I'm like, okay, no, that's not gonna work. So the answer is no. Um, I do believe Isaiah McKenzie's got some excellent value, excellent value. We know that the Bills have that high-powered offense, and we know one thing: they're gonna throw the ball at some point, and Josh Allen is gonna be Josh Allen and get his wide receivers involved. McKenzie should be the starter. He has outplayed one of my favorites, Crowder. So I expect McKenzie to be elevated over Crowder this year in fantasy football. Wan'Dale Robinson's another pick that you should be looking at. I just don't trust Chark. And if you look at what he did statistically the last 2 seasons, you know that's why I just don't trust Chark. Look, okay, injuries, yes. And then 2020 was some injuries, and he had technically one good season, and I'm just not with it. The best wide receiver on that roster hasn't played yet due to injuries, and that is um, Williams. Okay, just my opinion, but let's look and see what we want to do here. So Sammy Watkins, if he can remain healthy, he's probably going to be the most productive wide receiver for the Packers. But again, I just don't trust his health. If you're in a deep league, you can take a flyer on Watkins late. So what I really want to do is come down here, and I'm just gonna come down here. I like Romeo Dobbs, but we just got to see. I want to come down here, and I was gonna go vet. I'll tell you a few more players who I think would be good this year. KJ Osborne, I think, is gonna take a few more steps forward because of the simple fact that one, Adam Thielen is unable to remain healthy. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, yeah, he's gonna play and be even better than what he was last season because now he's got some experience in on the board and he should produce. So if you have a deep league and you have to fill these slots, these are some of the guys you should be checking for. Austin Hooper's a very good pick late. I have 2 quarterbacks on my roster, and I'm just going to come here and add a third one. And I am gonna look at, let's see. So Winston went. He was another one that that he's another quarterback you should be looking at. Looks very good again. I do believe at some point Zach Wilson will return this season and play very well. What I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna play it safe and go with a vet. I want a vet on my side, and I'm just gonna go Ryan Tannehill here. I do believe Ryan Tannehill will have a bounce back season this year. I think everyone got ahead of themselves with the expectations because he had a very good 2020 season. So now the expectations he's going to do this and that. Came back down to earth, which was expected because this is who he is. What he did last year is more realistic along the lines of Ryan Tannehill than the 2020 season. However, I do believe adding Austin Hooper will help. Robert Woods, that should help. My concern is Traylon Burks. You know, they traded AJ Brown and then drafted Traylon Burks, but Traylon Burks has had a lot of issues, so we don't know what's going to happen with him. However, the goal for the Tennessee Titans is to get Derrick Henry involved, and that will set up the success for Ryan Tannehill, and that's just what it is. So right here, I can just go. To me, I can go with best available talent if I want to. I think Alec Pierce will be a factor, but for redraft purposes, I'm just not going to do it. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take a flyer on Isaiah McKenzie because I do believe he's going to be very, very good this year. And that is what it will that's what's gonna be, y'all. Okay. I don't think OBJ is gonna play this year. Josh Palmer is another player that you should consider taking a chance on as well. So this is my team. This is the team I put together. I got a quarterback a little bit earlier because I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to get both of the guys that I was targeting and had on my list. So I got a better quarterback statistically, even though I got one round earlier. But you do have to check for those things. If you know that, like where I was picking at, I'm picking at the end of the draft, right? I'm picking late. Okay, I'm picking at the end of the draft. So at the end of each round, right? And so I looked and I observed and I identified the fact that I don't think that I'm going to be able to get both of my guys. So I had to make the decision. What should I do here? And what I did was I just had to grab a quarterback earlier, but it was still a very good quarterback. Grabbing Dak Prescott where I did in a Superflex league was right, but I will tell you this, in your live drafts, Dak Prescott is not going to be available that late. So if you feel like Dak is your guy, he's not going to be there late. So you should kind of go up and get him a little bit earlier. But the goal is to make sure you don't handicap yourself because you snatched up your super flex quarterbacks early and now you're looking at your skill positions and it's not looking great because of the fact that you neglected those positions. But again, here's my team so you can see it a little bit better. Kind of like this team, wide receivers, and then I do. And again, if you don't get the top 5 running backs, you still can get good. I'll change that. You can get great value at the running back position as well because I do believe ATN is gonna produce. Get starting running backs, and I know people are like, well, with Seattle, horrible offensive line. The offensive line has been horrible. So I don't feel like that's going to hinder whoever's going to end up being that starting running back. Because right now it's looking like it's going to be Penny. If Kenneth Walker can sustain some solid health, he may take that position. We just got to see what's going to happen. We haven't been able to see him in preseason. We haven't seen even one of these guys, and it's due to injury. So when everybody says, well, the offensive line isn't good, well, what did Penny do late in the season with that same offensive line being terrible? He went on a tear and people were picking him up and he helped them win possibly a playoff game in fantasy football, even made it to the championship. So when people say, well, the offensive line isn't that good, I mean, yeah, it's not good, but doesn't mean that a running back can't produce. The biggest concern for me is the fact that they think they're going to trot out there on the field this season with that terrible quarterback situation. I just feel like, okay, I understand you're in rebuild and you might be looking towards 2023 for a quarterback, but Lord have mercy, if you have Tyler Lockett or Metcalf or planning to draft them, you may want to think twice, because the passing game is going to be horrendous unless they add a quarterback who is going to be able to get the ball down the field to these guys. I don't feel like these two are going to have the season that you may anticipate, because the quarterback situation is horrible right now. And Russell Wilson is not trotting on the field for them. So you need to lower your expectations statistically for DK and Tyler. And I love both of those wide receivers, but the quarterback situation isn't good enough for these guys to be producing statistically as it was when Russell Wilson was there. But anyways, y'all, leave some comments and let me know your thoughts on my team. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Again, we have a lot of great content which is going to help you prepare for your upcoming draft and keep you 10 steps, 20 steps, all the way ahead of your competition for the upcoming fantasy football season, so you can achieve your ultimate goal. And your ultimate goal should be to win games, win your league. Y'all have a great week. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. We have some more mock drafts and more fun coming for you. See you on Wednesday.
Thanks for listening to the Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Blown Coverage Fantasy Football Podcast.